You're now live. We're live.
Here we are.
Everyone, we'll let the notifications go out, so we'll just sit here for a minute. What is today? Today is October 7th, so it's the first Saturday in October?
Yeah.
Okay, first Saturday in October. Wow, so we really have 3 months to go. That's it.
Yep. The chill in the air and the leaves are turning. It must be gorgeous in Vermont.
Yeah, it's kind of cloudy today. So if you are, while we're waiting for everyone to join us and catch up with the fact that we are live and online, if you want to finish the year strong, we do have a free course up on our Teachable School. Elevate You is the name of the school on Teachable. You can find the link all over the place, and we'll drop it in the comments after we get off the air.
Yeah, Jen did that last week.
Yeah, there is a free class there called, what is it called? Finish Strong, Create Your Blueprint for 2024 or something like that. So there's lots of free, it's 5 modules. I did it. There's a free download. There's a workbook, which is really good. So if you want to work yourself through extra to our conversations about how to finish the year strong, if you want to work yourself through a little program for free, you are welcome to go there and register for the Teachable class. We'll also be in the next year, well, in the next quarters or so, putting up some more free courses. There'll be some paid that you can pay for to take and some that you can take for free. Good morning, Dolly. Hi, Dodie. Okay, so people are starting to realize we are here, live, online. This morning, I made a post on my personal page and I think in the group earlier this week about, first of all, we've been playing the effectiveness game. So let's start there. So for those of you that are in our group, which is currently called Wheel of Change, and it is a group that goes along with the Working Coach Mom Facebook page, we would love for more of you to participate. There are only a few people that say anything in that group, and we know that there are people seeing the post, so we'd love it if you jumped in and participated. We are playing the effectiveness game. We are doing 25 gratitudes a day, and we are checking in with each other on that. So we've got some accountability going on in that group. If you have not joined the group, you are welcome to join. There are some questions you have to answer and some rules you need to agree to. And so you can jump in and join that group. It's called Wheel of Change, and you can find it. It's associated with our Facebook page, the main one called the Working Coach Mom. All right, so consistency, what I posted was you can have anything that you want as long as you're willing to consistently affirm that that's the way that you want to see it. So we talk a lot about creating a new story for yourself, making a new habit, creating a new way of being. None of that is going to hold any water without consistency. So you could say affirmations for a week and then get mad at us because it didn't work, and you're perfectly welcome to do that. Or you can make a new story and practice a new behavior for 2 weeks or a day or a month. You could go on a diet for a week and not lose any weight and say that the diet doesn't work. It's all about the work that you're willing to put in. So it's not, change is difficult in that you actually have to do something. And everybody, like, that seems to be the forgotten part. It's like, oh, I want to change. I want to have a new, way of being. I want to think of something. I want my life to be different. I don't want 2024 to be the same as 2023. Okay, what are you willing to do? What you have to pay a price for the new way of being. There's a price, there's a cost to you staying the same, and there's a cost to you changing. And the cost to you changing is you actually have to do something. And you can't just sit around on your ass complaining about everybody and everything. I mean, you can, nothing's going to change. And like I said last week, get off my page if that's what you're all about, because I don't have time for that shit here. So you have to do something, and it's going to be uncomfortable in the daily doing of it, right? I spend about an hour every morning doing affirmations, doing prayer work. It's a pain in my ass every single day. I've been doing this every single day for like almost 3 decades. It's, some days I'm just like, rah, 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 rah. And some days I'm really feeling it. And,
Facebook page.
What the hell are you doing?
They're having a hard time finding us. I'm sorry.
Okay, Tracy.
I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Having a silly morning.
Yeah, right. We are having a silly morning. Work. So guys, talk about that, because you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's work. There's no way to not do the work. And not only is it consistency is the thing I want to hit here, because everybody is happy to do the work for a few minutes or a day or a week or even a month. That's not long enough. It's real work. Like, I didn't go from bankrupt and broke as shit to where I am now without the work. And even at the level that I'm at now, I just told you I spend an hour a day. I'm not even kidding. Like, I do. And Tracy's been to my house.
Yep.
Karen has also been to my house. This is a practice that I do. I'm not talking out my ass when I say to you, you have to have a practice.
Yeah.
Without the practice and without the consistency, it's junk. It's not going to work. So you guys can speak to that some.
I'll say, Karen, if you don't mind, I'll jump in. So being 62 years old, I have quite a bit of collections of things from people who have passed, or people who have handed me down things, or just things that I've loved enough to buy too many of them. And that's a long time of stuff. And so over the past 3 years since I've moved to Indiana, I put a box out in the garage, and whenever I come upon something that I don't use or doesn't serve a purpose, or I have too many of them, I put them in the box. And then when the box is full, I bring it down to either Goodwill or Salvation Army or somewhere and give it away. It has blessed me. If I ask myself too many times, what should I do with this? What should I do with this? Well, obviously you don't know what to do with it and you're not using it. So it's time to let it go. And it's a lot of emotional work too, because, that was my dad's, my dad's gone now, and it helps me remember my dad. But you know what? Like, I remember my dad in my mind and in my heart. I don't need the thing to remind me that he was.
But how does, and so the consistency part is that you're making a change by getting rid of stuff, and the consistency
constant,
putting it in the box.
Constant. Okay. Yes. There's always a box in the garage, and as soon as that one's gone, there's another empty box waiting for some more things, because to be consistent, right? Like I was saying, so all this time of collecting, I have to be consistent in order to release. I'm not just going to rampage through my house like a crazy person. I'm going to take thought, and I'm going to be consistent in every day or every week, whenever. So
it's like a consistent habit of releasing is what you're talking about.
Yes. And it's work. It's more emotional work than anything for me. But
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And what about in your personal practice, like in your prosperity practice? What about?
Oh my goodness. Gosh, how long have we been at this? I'm trying to remember.
God.
Before I met your mom, I took a LifeSpring course, and I think I was in my early 20s.
When I was 16.
Yeah, I was in my early 20s. So yeah. So 40 something years. So it's a constant, consistent, tenacious, rigorous looking at what is working and what isn't working, and making a change, and ripping the Band-Aid off, and doing whatever you need to do. And like Noelle, being a single mom to a son, choosing no support from from his father, and just doing what I needed to do over and over and over and over. And like, it's just I'm a broken record, right? We just stay at it.
That's a great thing. I mean, honestly, being a single mom like forces you into consistency, because you don't have a choice.
Yes.
And so then, when you do have a choice, like now Antonio's going to be 23. So I do, obviously he doesn't live here anymore and all that. So, but the consistency, it's like I already had trained myself to do a particular thing. So it's like I just didn't get out of the habit. What I'm saying, and we'll let Karen chime in here in a second, she's kind of new to her practice, so she might be able to give you guys some insight that's a little different than Tracy's and mine. The thing is that in order to be a new way, you have to imagine yourself that new way every single day. And you have to be willing to give up talking about yourself like the old way in order to be the new way. And that requires an amount of self-confidence as well as consistency. So we'll talk about that in a second. But Karen, what's your take on the whole
That brought up a different point than what I was going to say. So before I lose my train of thought, my consistency is how I speak. And I've learned, and this is like because I'm newer to the practice. So I constantly, like I was catching myself last night when I was saying I don't have, and I'm like, but before I say it, I'm like pausing and saying it different. So that's a big one, is the consistency of how you speak, because it really does change things. And I used to hear that and I'd be like, yeah, okay. But it really does help. Like, yeah, okay. But what's really is tough, but works is imagining yourself, Noelle, what you're saying. And because I'm not as much visual, so I read it a lot and I say it a lot, but that was something that I consistently had to do for months and months and months until it clicked. Like, I know how to envision that now. But at first it doesn't, you may not get it. But I think, it's interesting. In August, I wasn't as consistent with my practice. Like I'll be the first one to say I kind of fell off. And August wasn't as great of a month as September was, because I picked it up back in September. Well, kind of mid-September, but we're not going to go into that. But it really is. And like Noelle's saying, like blah, 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 like every morning when I don't want to do it, it's like going to the gym the days you don't want to do, but you have to do it every morning or night or whatever you do.
Yeah. You make it like, it's like brushing your teeth. Like, honest to God, I mean, I hope that none of you would go out of the house without brushing your teeth. Like, I mean, maybe, but like, you shouldn't tell me that, because then I won't want to talk to you ever. But so that's a habit, right? That's a consistent habit. It's something you don't even think about that. You just do it. Or like when you lock your house, when you walk out the door, or, I don't know, something that has to do with your kids if you're a parent. Like, there's just things that have just become, you just do it. It's not like you don't think like, oh, do I feel like brushing my teeth today? No, you gotta, like you gotta do that. So these things have to be, it has to become like that. Otherwise, there's no hope of you making it into, like Kim is saying on here, routines and rituals, and Andrea's saying, in order to be successful, get out of your comfort zone. It's really hard work. Mm-hmm. And my husband is saying, make sure you blow out the candles before you leave the house. Because this is us. We go anywhere and we get halfway down the road and I go, did I blow out the candle? And then we turn around and we literally come back. Yeah. And, and most times I have blown it out, but then, we just, neither one of us can remember. So it's literally like, now I blow out the candle and I say to him, I've blown out the candle. So when you ask me in the car, remember that I blew the candle out. So I guess that's what happens when you get old.
Well, you said something about self-confidence. I wanted to just go back to that. So I find that that's the drive, right? That's the push to stay in check with yourself, right? Because you have the self-confidence to have the thing that you say that you want, or you feel self-worth to deserve.
Yeah. The self-confidence is tied to your self-worth. And of course, if you are at a particular level in your life, you have manifested that level based on how you feel about yourself and about your circumstances and about your life in general. So in order to go up to the next level, you have to raise what you think you are worthy of, what you think you deserve. And here's the thing about the deserving index that is tied to the self-confidence and the self-worth, okay? This is where the effectiveness game really comes in handy. Because when you are driving to the next level, when you believe that you are knocking it out of the park, so the effectiveness game gives you the opportunity to say 10 things a day that you're going to do, that you say, that you're saying, when I do these 10 things, I feel like I'm on top of my game. I feel like I'm really winning in my life. So let's say you play the effectiveness game, you do this consistently, and you're between an 80 and 100 over the course of 3 months. Well, you're going to look back at those scores and say, okay, I'm all right. This is good. I'm building on that. That's like a foundation. And now I feel like I can go a little bit higher. Or I deserve what I'm asking the universe for, or I'm worthy of where I'm trying to go. Because let's face it, when you are feeling ineffective in your life, like things are not moving or it's not working the way you want, then you don't really believe that you deserve to go to the next level. Right? If you're making 60 grand a year and you want to make 160 grand a year, what's going to be different? You cannot make $160,000 a year being the $60,000 a year person. You can't. I don't care what kind of a job you get, you won't be able to hold it because you secretly don't believe you deserve it. The only thing that is going to get you to the next economic level in your prosperity is changing. And the only way you're going to change is consistently doing something different that elevates your belief in yourself, that elevates your opinion of yourself, that elevates how you feel every day. And that kind of takes us to our next thing, which is like choose the next best thought. And we've talked about this a lot. We've tried to explain to you that where you vibe is where you pull from. So if you're vibing at 60 grand, you're pulling more 60 grand. If you want to vibe at 160 grand, then I'm going to ask you the question, who do you have to be to make $160,000 a year? What does that Karen look like? What does that Tracy look like? What does that look like? How does she dress? What does she do every morning? What's her practice look like? What's she driving? What's she eating? What does she weigh? Who does she talk to? What does she do every day? You have to dig into all these. These are all like the blueprint questions, right? You have to dig in there because if you don't even know what that looks like, how the hell are you going to get there? You can sit around all day in 60 grand and say, I want to make $160,000. I want to raise my income. And it's like, okay, cool. What are you willing to give up to do that? Are you willing to give up the Lifetime TV that you're watching every night for 2 hours? Are you willing to give up watching the news and substitute that with doing a masterclass or reading something that's going to forward the action or making it or doing affirmations? Or what are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up talking to your friends, the people that you're hanging out with now that are $50,000 people? Are you willing to stop those conversations and elevate yourself to start hanging around with $200,000 people? You tell me, because you look at what's around you, how your house looks, what your closet looks like, what does it look like under your sink and in your car, and how are you behaving when nobody's looking? And I'll tell you exactly why you are where you are. This isn't magic. This isn't like impossible. This is work. And most people don't want to do the work. So the fact that you're even here listening to the conversation, that's great. Now my question to you is, what the hell are you going to do about it? If you're going to end the year making 60 grand this year, and next year you want to make 160 grand, that's possible. The question is, who do you have to be to make that happen? And what the hell are you going to do about it? So I don't know. You guys have some input on that, maybe.
I think in doing all that, but then also just leaving it up to the universe is a really big one. Like, because I'll get in my head like, all right, you're saying, oh, it's not working, or, thinking too far ahead and just doing the things every day and then just leaving the rest up to the universe.
Right. You don't have to know how.
Yeah, you don't have to know how. You don't have to know how you're going to get there. Just keep doing it.
Right. You have to set your intention and then figure out what the changes to your behavior need to be. And then you don't have to worry about the how. Let the universe worry about how. But like Karen's saying, you have to worry about what are you doing every day? What are you doing every day? If you're saying to us, I want to make $160,000 in 2024, and I'm going to come home from work. I'm going to roll up into my dirty dishes and throw everything on my counter and sit my ass on the sofa, watch Lifetime for 2 hours, eat a bunch of shit food, and then roll into bed and do it all the next day. I'm going to say to you, good luck. You're not going to make 1 cent over what you're making now, because nothing's changing. Nothing's changing. You have to change something. You've got to change your behavior. And most people don't want to do the work, which is why most people are complaining about their lives and whining and pissing and moaning. And they don't really want to change anything because it's work. And like Karen said, you don't have to know how. I mean, you could get some ideas about how, but you don't have to obsess over the how. If you're a salesperson, you could say, okay, to get to 160 grand, I've got to do this many calls a day, this many emails, this many that. That, yes, you should have some kind of a framework, but don't obsess about that framework. Obsess more about how you're behaving within that framework. How are you being, and what is coming out of your mouth? That's your biggest problem. What is coming out of your mouth? Because most of us are maybe spending, let's just say you're spending 20 minutes a day speaking all these affirmations and saying all the good stuff, that you want to do. Dolly, the website's on the bottom, thecoffeechatshow.com. And then let's say how many hours in a day? 24. And most people are awake, maybe 16 hours or something. So let's say you're taking half an hour and you're speaking about the way you want life to be. And then you're spending 15 and a half hours talking about what's not working. And this is where the gratitude rampage really comes in handy, and choosing the next best thing. Because when you're feeling shitty, or you're feeling stuck, or you're feeling like it's not working, you can literally just decide. Abraham Hicks and Esther Hicks call it an appreciation rampage. I call it a gratitude rampage. Same thing. You basically just stop dead where you are and start just, what can I be grateful for? Oh, I'm grateful for the water that's coming out of the shower. I'm grateful for the shampoo. I'm grateful for the toothpaste and the toothbrush. I'm grateful for, just start rolling. Because here's the thing, whatever you're doing in this moment brings the next moment. So if you're spending this moment appreciating something or being grateful for something, then that's what you're putting into the next moment. And that's why it's called a rampage. Just go. And just keep, if you're getting ready in the morning and you're feeling shitty and the day seems shitty, start with an appreciation and gratitude rampage, and don't stop. I'm grateful for my makeup. I'm grateful for this cup of coffee. I'm grateful for the car that's going to get me to work. I'm going to blah, 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 blah. Okay. It's like momentum, right? And then you're going to feel a little better, and then you're going to choose a better thought. And then that's how the day is going to go. So, and you can do this in the middle. Say you woke up and it was seemingly a great day, and then something happens and now boom, you're in it. You can, in that very moment, choose the next best thought and start a gratitude rampage. Go, just go, and go from there. Okay. And that's where a lot of people lose it too. It's like you're in a good space, something happens, now you're down here. You don't have to stay there. You can decide in a split second to choose the next best thought and go in a different direction. Priscilla is reminding us that your behavior is the key to achieving what you want, which is exactly right. Show me somebody's habits and I'll show you what their future is going to look like, because that's where their future lies, is in their habits. And if you have a habit of criticizing, condemning, and complaining, which most of us do a lot of that, and it really requires vigilance to catch yourself. And so just like, the first step to stopping an addiction is recognizing that you have an addiction, it's good to just start stopping yourself, right? So catch yourself in the moment and go, oh, let me change that thought. Yeah, Tracy, go ahead.
So I want to say, for people that have not created a positive tribe, you have people around you that you turn to for guidance, and you just don't seem to be making any changes that to create the next best thing. If you're in a rut and you can't even see what's possibly the next best thing, to reach out to others, because that that would allow you to find something new, because sometimes we don't know what we don't know. Like you have no clue. I have no clue. You're in a situation. You're like, what's the next best thing? I have no clue, because obviously what I've been doing hasn't been working. Somebody help me. So it really requires somebody that's already catapulted into that space to be able to speak into you. And I just want to say that on the page, it's a good place to ask questions, to like put it out there and ask somebody, what would you do in this situation?
In the group,
Yes,
because the group is
in the
private.
group, right?
The page is public. That the Wheel of Change group is a private group. So what you put in there stays in the group.
Yeah.
The Working Coach Mom page is public. That's got like 1.5 million people following it. So that is not private. What's private is the Wheel of Change, which is the group. And so also in Tracy, to speak to that, also, if you don't know what the next best thing is, you can get busy helping someone else.
Yeah.
Because you can really get out of your own way and out of your own clod of grievances and ailments by assisting or adding value to someone else. That's never going to steer you in the wrong direction, and it'll probably make you feel better in the moment.
Yeah.
Karen, you want to add something to all this?
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, separately, my biggest train of thought I keep thinking of is I keep going back to like, okay, when I get in that kind of like rut or the thing, like you don't want to do it every day. And just for me, I have to keep the gratitude. Like, and we're talking about the gratitude, but even if it's just 3 minutes or 3 things, like just change, because you can change how you feel. It's like one of the only things you can change in this world is how you feel,
right?
How you react. Well,
right.
Respond, not react, but you respond.
Yeah.
So it's like that, but it all comes back to gratitude.
Yeah,
so good.
For sure. And Christy is saying she heard somebody recently say, what if it all works out? I'm sure.
But then what do you do next when it works out? That's my big one right now.
But instead of what if it all works out, it all works out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's like, I read the last chapter, right? Tracy and I have been around the block long enough to like, we read the end of the book.
Yep.
We said last week, like between the two of us, we have 110 or something years of experience with all this kind of stuff, when we've been through every disgusting thing you can imagine. And it all turns out. And why it all turns out is because you keep saying it all turns out. My mom used to have a best friend that said, it's all good. It's all good. Remember John Witherdall? It's all good. Everything's good. It's all good. That's all. We'd all get upset. My mother would get upset about it. It's like, nope, it's all good. It's all good. And he used to do this. It's all good. It's all good. Remember? It's all good. It's all good.
Yep.
And I remember him when I'm like, oh, and I'm just like, okay, it's all good. It all works out. So, I mean, the more that you look for the good, the more good you're going to see, right? Wayne Dyer says, the change that you're looking for, when you change the way you look at things, everything that you're looking at changes, which is the truth. And this is proven in, mindset work and positive psychology, and all of these things are scientifically proven that if you change the way that you are looking at things and what you are looking for, everything changes. And there's a book called The Good Life. There's a book called Mindset. There are literally scientific studies that backs up, what we're saying. It is spiritual. It is also now psychologically proven and scientifically proven. So when you change the way that you are seeing the world changes for you. And you actually invite and bring in more positive experiences and more positive circumstances. And that's just the truth. And the thing that matters the most is, a thought to leave you all with, is your relationships with people. It's not the stuff, it's the people. So if you're one of these folks that goes and you're like at an event or something and you're like, oh yeah, like, put it down, man. Put it down. Your quality of relationship with the people in your life, or the people that you want to be around, or the people that you work with or that work for you, or that's where the joy comes from, is in the relationships with the people. Yes, having money makes things easier. I have had no money, and I have had some money, and I have had some more, and then I've had none.
Yeah.
And it's definitely easier when I have some.
Yep.
So I much prefer that over having none. And I much prefer having good credit over zero credit. And I've had both. So yes, money definitely makes things easier. But money is a symbol of exchange. Money is energy.
It can be someone's excuse to not do what's required too. Oh, I don't have the money. Well, be creative.
It's energy, though.
Yep.
I mean, that's what it is. It's energy. And I'm actually, I think I told you guys, there's just been people with money situations lately that have just really surprised me. So I think I'm actually going to put together a teachable course and put it up on, how to handle finances, not from just a spiritual perspective, but from a realistic, practical perspective. Since I was a CFO for so many years, like I have a lot of practical knowledge about how to handle finances, as well as the spiritual, kind of that manifesting side of things. Anyway, so we're going to roll. We invite you to join us in the Wheel of Change group. We are posting in there every day, twice a day or more. Tracy and I are reporting our numbers for the effectiveness game, and we're reporting that we've done our gratitudes. Karen is posting sometimes when she remembers.
I have it on the thing. I made a notepad of it.
We have a couple people that have been really good about posting in there. So we just invite you to really use that group as an extension of the show and a place to talk to us and ask us questions. Because like I said, Tracy and I and Karen, we look in that group many times a day. It's just that none of you are really utilizing it as it could be utilized. And we really want to encourage you more and more to do that, because it is a way to talk to us all week long. So for this week, if you wanted an assignment, I would ask you to get on the bus and play the effectiveness game with us and do a list of 25 gratitudes a day and watch yourself and start to choose the next best thing. Tracy just dropped the link for the group inside these comments that go with the video. So if you're looking for how to join the group, you can click on that link and you can answer the questions. You've got to answer the questions or we won't take you. So because you have to agree to the rules, and it's just like we respect each other and what's in the group is private and, things like that. So hope you guys have a really good week. Remember that consistency is everything, and consistency with choosing your thoughts is just so very important for you to change, your life from the way it is to the way you want it to be. So we will see you next week, and we hope you have a great week. And we're going to stop streaming.
Bye, everybody.